Bonjour! Come take a trip to France with us. We love doggies, so we're going to paint today a French poodle and the Eiffel Tower. So let's go. All right, let's get started, kids. So here we got our watercolor set, 2 different sized brushes, a smaller one and a longer one. It's a little bit like a rounded brush, so that's gonna help you with the background. We got a red crayon, a black marker, a pencil, a good size eraser, some black Craft Smart matte acrylic paint, and a Q-tip. You're gonna want a little cup of water, some paper towels so we don't get everything on mom and dad's furniture. I like to paint under, materials that you could just find in the house. So this is just actually a cutting board, so nothing leaks through. And then we have paint paper. So it's not like regular paper, it's a little bit thicker. And a little paper plate to put our paint on. Let's go. Okay, so get your pencils and let's do this. Oui. So we're gonna start with the little nose of the French poodle. So we're gonna draw a little half circle here, like a rainbow. And then we're gonna connect the 2 sides. So go from one side to the other. And then we got the little nosy, and then we're gonna go up. So go from the left corner, go on up, and the right corner, go on up. Perfect. So now we're gonna do a little swirl, kind of looks like a marshmallow cloud. We're gonna go like that. Then from this corner, we're gonna go up and we're gonna keep making little swirls. So right now, kind of looks like you're just doing a fluffy little cloud on top. Perfect. Now we're gonna do a flick down, another flick down. There you go. And we're gonna do more fluffy clouds, which is actually the ear hair. Whee! This French poodle has a nice perm going on. Lovely. Then from here, we're gonna go down just to like a little line. And then we're gonna do some more curly hair, little swirls like cotton candy. There we go. Perfect. So now we have the head, the hair, the little earsies. Now we're gonna go to the cute little details, which are my favorite. So we are going to do a rainbow and then another rainbow right next to it. So these 2 little rainbows are the eyelashes. And since this French poodle is very fancy because she's in France, she's gonna have eyelashes. So we're gonna go under and connect each line. And so now it looks kind of like a little moon, you could see. So it's like a little moon. Then we're going to do this little curve up and down, okay? And then we're going to do a little line, little line, little line, little line. Now, I like to color the eyelashes and the nose in black just so I know what I'm painting, not to paint on top of it, because her eyelashes and her nosy are black. So we just kind of sketch that in nicely. We can go over with Sharpie later to really make it pop. There we go. And then we're gonna give her a little blush. She's blushing because she's so excited to be in France. Perfect. Now we're gonna do the body. So the body is gonna be like a big fluffy marshmallow because poodles are cuddly. So here we have this little line. And then we're just gonna go to the bottom of the page. And here we're going to do it like that and a little curve. And then go from here to the bottom of the page. So that's her fluffy body. And now let's do a little fluffy tail because everybody likes a waggy tail. So you're going to go up and we're going to do a little fluff ball circle. And then we're going to go down like that. Okay? Now, I think we should accessorize a little bit because why not? So we're going to draw a circle right here. perfect circle, size of your finger. And then we're going to go from this corner to here, so it kind of looks like a little sash. Okay? And that could be her fancy collar, or it could be just a nice little scarf. So now we got our little poodle ready to go. Woof, woof. And let's go to the Eiffel Tower. So you really know you're in France. So this part, let's start here. You're going to connect this line to the bottom of her ear and kind of make like an imaginary line. Don't mark her ear, but make an imaginary line up. And then you're going to go across like that. Okay? Then you're going to take this line and go all the way down to here. So what I do is mark it with your pencil first so you know. So right here, you're going to have this line go all the way down. So it's kind of like connect the dots. And you want to make a little bit of a curve out of it. Whee! There we go. So we take our eraser and we can erase that little line now that we marked it. Erase anything you like. We all make mistakes. That's why the power of the eraser. And just remember, you know, I'm an artist. I've been doing this for 20 years. It does not have to look like this. Whatever you create is going to be beautiful. You have to believe in yourself and know that you are awesome and you got this. Okay. So now we're going to do a little arch connecting here. Okay. You can go through the tail and you can just erase it like this if you want, if that's easier for you. And then you can just erase that. Okay. Now we're going to do the line across. So we got here. It's like the little bridge. And then we're going to do another little bridge up top. So it's just a very skinny rectangle. And then the line that's in the middle, you just erase it. Okay. Then there's a little ball up top here. So we're going to do a half moon ball. And the little tip top. And then we're going to go up and down. And here we're going to do a little window. There you go. And you have your Eiffel Tower. So now let's get painting. So watercolor is a great color, a great option when you have a large space to fill. So before we start with the watercolor, see her little scarf? It's going to be kind of hard to get in there for little fingers. So I choose a red crayon. So technically we are very fancy today because not only are we doing a French poodle in France, but we're doing mixed media. So now that's when you mix a bunch of mediums. So mixed media, you could mix watercolor with acrylic, oil painting with gouache, you know, stencils with charcoal. So when you mix different mediums in the art world, that's called mixed media. So I'm just going to color in her cute little scarfie with the crayon because it's just easier to keep it in the lines so it doesn't bleed through the watercolor. So it's just going to be easier for your little fingers. And see how I'm coloring a little bit harder? The harder you color with the crayon, the darker the color. And then I'm going to use the same red crayon to do her blush, but I'm going to do it super light. See how it looks like I'm almost using two different crayons? It's the same color, it's just the amount of pressure you put. So here she has her rouge cheekies. Perfect. We're done with the crayon, putting it down, and we're going to our larger watercolor brush. It's a little bit thicker than this one, which is thinner for details. So we're going to wet the brush first with water. And then I like to pat it on this little paper towel. Paper towel is your friend, my friends. And then we are going to start with green on the bottom for the grass. So I'm going to start with a lighter color green. With watercolor, you always want to start with lighter colors and then work your way into the darker color. So you work on a gradient. So watercolor, it's very important to keep wetting your brush. There we go. So see how the dark green mixes so beautifully with that light green. If you get a little bit on the doggy, don't worry, because you can always paint over the doggy white. So don't get stressed out, my friends. Take a deep breath. Now I'm going to go for even a darker shade of green. That's why I love this palette, because it has all the colors. And everybody who knows me knows I love colors. So we're kind of working our way from light to dark. And we want to do the same on the little corner here, so it kind of matches up. Okay, we're going to do our last bit of green, and check this out. I'm going to mix a little bit of green with a little bit of brown. So it gets kind of like a darker, muddy color. There we go. And I'm going to try and line this up. And then line it up on the other side so it matches. And now we're going to clean our brush. I'm going to paint the sky all blue. This is my favorite blue in the whole world. It's called Circlin Blue. And I'm going to use that. So you can feel free and pause this and then do it yourself and then press play and we can meet back up, okay? So happy painting, my little friends. So I'm keeping the Eiffel Tower white because I'm going to go back in the end and add some color. And you always need to add more water to help blend it. So watercolor is kind of tricky, but if you can master watercolor, my grandmother was a professional artist in Denmark, and she always told me that watercolor is the hardest medium. If you can master watercolor from a young age, acrylics, oil, everything else is going to come easy for you. So I actually started with watercolor when I was about 4 years old, and then gradually shifted to acrylics and oils. But it's just nice how you can kind of blend it. So I'm keeping the doggy white. Now, don't be tricked. This is not the doggy. This is sky. So make sure you paint that blue and keep our little poodle white. Now, if you want to do a black poodle or a brown poodle, there's lots of different breeds. I'm going to keep mine white just so she contrasts with the sky. And now we're going to go in and we are going to bring some of this baby blue. So see how we go from dark to light, and then on the bottom we did light to dark. So that just makes a really nice gradient. So pretty. And now it's like looking at a window into France. You guys like eating croissants? I love croissants. They're so good. A little bit more blue. And if you want to change it up and do a sunset, last week when I taught this to my class, a lot of kids opted to do a rainbow sunset. I think rainbows make everything better, so go for it, you know. Do you. That's all about being an artist. Perfect. So now for the Eiffel Tower, we're going to clean this brush, put that one back, and we're going to take our smaller rounded brush. So it's a little bit smaller. A smaller brush is better for smaller details. Small details, small brush. So we're going to get that wet. And the Eiffel Tower kind of changes colors from night to day. I am going to do kind of like a light brown and gray. So I'm going to color that in, and then it's just nice because it contrasts well. It's really more of a metal-y color. So I'm going to add a little bit of this beige and kind of mix that in there too. But you know, if you want a hot pink Eiffel Tower, do it. Because it's all about having fun. It's not about being perfect. When you have fun, you get better at stuff with practice. When you're not having fun, then you kind of feel like quitting. So the trick of the game is to keep having fun. See that little mistake I made? There are no mistakes in art. I take my little Q-tip and I can dry up that smudge. See how it comes right off? That's kind of I feel like watercolor is so flexible because you just add a little water and you can kind of blur out mistakes. So that's the cool thing about the Q-tip. But we're actually going to use the Q-tip for something else in a bit. Perfect. So here we go. So now let's take that Q-tip and this black paint on a paper plate. It can be the dirty side. It doesn't matter because we're going to get it dirty anyways. We're going to dip this, just the tip of it. You can see there. And we're going to do little dots on our scarf. Like that. Boop, 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 boop. I don't know why I make sound effects when I do dots, but it sounds so cute. There we go. Adorable. Now, what I like to do is I'm going to let this dry. And after it dries, I outline all the pencil with my good friend black marker. And that's just really going to make everything pop. So I'm going to color in the eyes, the nose. I'm going to color that in solid black with my marker. And all the lines I'm going to outline again in Sharpie. Now, this will probably take you about 2 minutes. So, you know, take your time, but definitely wait till the watercolor is dry. So set it aside. Go outside, chase some butterflies, go take your doggy on a walk, come back, and then we're gonna outline this and it's gonna pop. So we're back. Here you can see when you outline it with the power of the black marker, it just really pops. So now you have your adorable woof woof, little French poodle in France. Ooh la la. Thank you so much for joining me. Have fun.